guys, there's a new patch for Autochess that's released right now. Just now. I haven't even played the game yet. It's awesome, okay? So many big changes. Let's dive right into it. First of all, there's two new pieces. There's Zeus and there's Mars, okay? Zeus is a god mage, so extra mage for the mage effects. And we also have Mars, which is a god warrior. It's a 1 cost and 5 cost. Zeus is the 5 and Mars is the 1. So let's talk about Mars first. So Mars is a 1 gold character. He has he's normal, so 5 armor, magic resist 0, attack speed is fine. Attack damage is 0 though, unfortunately, which is weird, right? So why is Mars attack 0? Well, he has a skill called Bulwark, and basically every 5 seconds he uses his shield strike and deals 200, 300, 400 depending on level on how many stars you have, and it's basically a cleave. Okay, he also has a reduction of physical damage, so only physical damage in the front and the sides. So the front, he takes 30, 50, 70% less damage, and on the sides he takes 15, 25, and 35% less damage. So he's basically a pure tank and a unit that can only pure AoE every 5 seconds, which, you know, it's a kind of a weird unit. It reminds me of Leshrac or Tormented Soul back in the Dota days, where he doesn't even have an auto attack, which is kind of weird. But, you know, it's still gonna be fine because, well, first of all, he has a lot of health and he can actually like tank a lot. Like, this is actually a lot of percentage health deduction, right? He is also a 1 cost god unit, so he can actually reduce your other cooldowns really, really fast. So once again, like, I think if you want to play Mars, you either build warrior or you want to do the god stuff, right? Or if you want to counter Mars, make sure you do magic damage because he only reduces physical damage. And finally, the other unit is Zeus. Zeus is OP. Holy shit, it's so exciting. It's 5 cost unit, so he's a legendary unit. He has a lot of health, 950, and then he gets a double and double onwards. He does have attack. He has 0 armor though, but to offset that, he has 40 magic resist. Dude, he comes into the game with basically 3 cloaks. That's insane. 3 cloaks. So he doesn't take any magic damage. Now, what does his ulti do? Insane. His ulti is Thunder God's Wrath. Strike all enemy pieces of lightning wherever they are, and every enemy has a 50% chance to get hit. And they get hit by 300, 400, or 500 damage, okay? So that's basically an AoE throughout the whole field, but it's a 50-50, okay? It is guaranteed to hit at least 1 target if all units fail the 50% chance. So at least it'll always do something, okay? If there's 1 unit left, the Zeus will always ulti that guy. But there's a bonus here. It deals additional damage proportional to their current health. So whatever their current health is, they take an additional 20%, 30%, or 40% based on their current HP, which is insane because that shreds tanks. Okay, if your opponent is running Timber 3 or Doom 3 or like things with a lot of health, you put that Zeus in and then boom, their HP vanish. Alright, insane. Cooldown is reasonable. It's magic damage, as we know. There's also one more ability. There's also one more effect on this ability. If Zeus survives the battle for the away game, so basically if your Zeus on the enemy that's attacking the enemy team survives, you lightning strike your opponent's courier, and your opponent's courier gets dealt a percentage damage based on their current health, which is insane. So they take 10, 15, and 20. So for example, if your opponent's core is at 80 health, and your Zeus is level 1, they take an additional 8 damage because 10% of 80 health is 8. So not only do they take normal damage for losing, they take an additional 8. So Zeus can get very, very smorky. So not only does he AoE everything and deals a percentage damage, it also deals a percentage damage to the courier, dude. So I can see this Zeus being really good. Oh, by the way, plus he's also a god and he's also a mage. Okay, so very excited to check out these things. It's gonna be fun. So God is a new species effect that is insane. Okay, it reduces all your pieces cooldown by 50% for each god. So if you have 1 god, all your units have 50% reduced cooldown on their ultimates, and you have 2 gods, they all have 75% reduced cooldown ultimates because 50% and another 50%, right? Which is insane. However, it only works if you have no other species. So species, as you can see here, are these ones. Okay, so if you have God, you can still use classes. So you can still use druids, warriors, hunters, mages, knights, warlocks, mechs, assassins, shamans, and demon hunters. Okay, you still use those ones. However, you cannot use the races, okay? So you cannot have human synergy or elf synergy and so on. So if you have a god stuff, you can never basically pick any demons, and you can never pick like any ogres and stuff like that, because then you get like a bonus, right? So you can't do that. It takes a little time to get used to that, I guess. But yeah, that's basically it. But dude, having reduced cooldown on stuff like Disruptor or like Medusa, dude, that could be very, very insane. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome. All right, what else? This is perhaps the biggest change in my opinion. 3 least popular chess pieces are Ricky, Sand King, and Slark. They have been removed from the chess pool temporarily and will come back later after adjustment. So basically, these guys are deleted. That is insane. That is actually insane. Which is, I think that's a big change. And that's actually a very, very good change. Because, yeah, like I said, nobody picks these units anyways. And now, we actually we maintain the order, right? We add 2 units, remove 3 units. So, we're still going to get the, you know, triple units that much easier, right? The pool is not going to get diluted. And that's going to be awesome. That basically means that the 9 assassins are removed, the 4 Nagas are removed, and 6 beasts are removed because Ricky, Sand King, and Slug are all gone, right? So you can never build these. So let's see what that means. Assassins adjusted to 15% and 20%. Because there's only 3 and 6 now, right? So assassins are 15% and 20%, and damage is 350% to 450%. So that's pretty good. Beast attack bonus is now 10% and 20%. So that's a little bit of a buff for beasts because it's easier to build beasts now. And Naga is also adjusted to 40. So you can only have 2 Nagas now, and it's just a flat 40, which I think is a buff actually. So you get 2 Nagas, and then basically you're good against magic. We also have mages getting a nerf. Mages magic resist now is 35-45 instead of 40-40. So when you have 3 mages, it's gonna be a little bit less effective, and for 6 mages it's the same. And warriors actually got a nerf. Warriors went from 6-7-8 to 5-7-9. So once again, it's a nerf to the 3 warriors, and same for everything else pretty much. It's not a big difference for 6 warriors, and there's literally no difference with 9 warriors. Mirana, this one's actually huge. Mirana is now 2 cost, and arrow CD is increased by 2. So arrow CD is actually not a big deal because the arrow CD got reduced last patch, so it's basically reverting the patch. But dude, Mirana getting a cost reduction is actually huge, right? So you can actually get hunters that much easier now. And you can get Mirana 3 that much easier now. So I think Mirana is going to be pretty good. However, that comes with an increase on Treant. Wow, Treant is now 3 cost. That's a huge nerf. Huge nerf. Treant is cost 3 now. It's really hard to make Treant. It's really hard to make Treant 3. It's still easy because he's a druid, so you only really need like, you know, 4 Treants to make a Treant 3. But still, it's a pretty big nerf. However, with the nerf comes a stat upgrade. His HP got increased by 100 at level 1. Level 2 Treant got increased by 200, and level 3 Treant got increased by 700. So Treant is a little bit more thicker if you actually do make Treant 3. Especially if you go elves, right? Because plus 700 health and dodge is insane. And attack damage is increased by 10, 20, 40, depending on level. So if you are to get Treant now, because it's hard to get, you get a better unit. So it's a nerf to it's basically a nerf to collection speed, but it's a buff if you actually get it done. So if you're the only person going druids, then try and get this. And then finally, there's a few bug fixes, and that's it. So I think, dude, this doesn't look like there's a lot of changes, but it's huge. We got 2 new units. We're gonna test them out. You better be watching because I'm gonna be, oh dude, Zeus and I always go no synergies, so this is gonna be great for me. And also removing the 3 pieces is also pretty big. So there you go. that's the patch notes. Super excited to play. So let's go ahead and play now.